Hello everyone, my name is Keely. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Let's talk about everything that I watched in winter. So this is going to cover December, January, and February, and we're going to talk about all the shows and movies that I watched. So starting out with a bang, in December, I watched 9 things. Now I usually don't get through this many things in a month, but I was watching a lot of things. So the first thing I completed in December was Snack vs. Chef. Now if you've watched my other shows and movies videos before, you will know that I love any TV show about food. So anytime Netflix comes out with a new TV show about food, I am there. So this one we have professional chefs and they go through different rounds, and in the first round they have to try to recreate an iconic snack, and then in the second round they have to make their own snack. And I loved this concept so much because I love getting to see the recreation of snacks that we love, like hot Cheetos and Oreos and things like that, but I also loved the creativity of them creating their own snacks or candies. It was really fascinating and I really loved it. The next thing I completed was The Amazing Race Season 34. This is the newest season of the show, and I recently really got into it because this new season came out and I started watching it, so then I went back and started from the very beginning. But the most recent season was so much fun, and I will say the people who won were my favorite from the very beginning. I absolutely love them, and so far out of all the seasons I've watched, they might be my favorite pairing out of all of them. The next show I watched was CSI Season 7. Now this is like the original CSI crime scene investigation with Grissom in Las Vegas. I believe this is also the season where a certain character leaves, which I was really excited about because I did not like them, although I do know that they come back. If it's not this season, then it is like the next season that they leave, but something happens with that character and I was very excited about it. But yes, I love the show. I watch it very slowly whenever I'm feeling like it, and I finished a season in December. Next, I completed The Amazing Race Season 4. Now, this was a good season, and I will say the people who won, I was okay with them. I don't think they were like my absolute favorite, but I honestly don't think that I really loved a whole lot of people on this season, so I was okay with the winners, but you know, there's better people. Next, I watched Survivor Season 43. This is the most recent season, and it was really good. There were a lot of interesting people on this show in this season in particular, and there was a lot of really good gameplay. I will say the winner of this season was not who I would have chosen. They were a really great person, but not a really great Survivor player, and there's a big difference in those two. The person that should have won was sitting on the jury, and that person is one of the best Survivor players I've ever seen on American Survivor, so that was disappointing, but overall it was a great season. Next, I watched The Amazing Race Season 5, and this was a really interesting season. We had some very eclectic people on this season. Overall, the winners I was happy with, but there was also some couples on here that were so despicable, but it was a great season nonetheless. Next, I completed The Amazing Race Season 6, and this season had some of the most horrendous people on there. Like, I'm talking despicable, like bigots and racists, and I just hated them. And unfortunately, I really disliked the couple that won. Did not like them one bit, but overall I didn't really care for any of them, so it was gonna be a lose-lose situation either way, but I still had fun watching. After that, I randomly decided to watch Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I was just in my feels because my TikTok For You page was all Harry Potter edits, so I decided to put on the first movie and loved it once again, acted it out pretty much word for word, and cried in all the right parts. I still love this movie so much. And the last thing that I watched in December was Matilda the Musical. This is the new movie on Netflix, and I love it so much. This musical is like my new personality. Every time I go lift in the gym, this is what I'm listening to. I love the little girl that played Matilda so much. I cried, I laughed, and the music in this show is so good. So when I lived in London, I also watched this musical on West End, and I loved it so much. And so to see it on Netflix and be able to watch it over and over, I would die for it. Absolutely love it and highly recommend it if you haven't watched it yet. Moving on to January, I have 4 things to talk about, and the first movie I watched was The Hunger Games. So if you didn't see, I did a whole video about this where I reread the book and then rewatched the movie and talked about all my feelings. This is one of my favorite franchises of all times, books and movies. I love it so much. All of the actors that are in this are just to die for. They are so well played and they are the perfect people for these characters. I have loved every time I watch this, and I think it is one of the best book to movie adaptations I've ever seen. Of course, there's always going to be things that are different, but I love it so much. Next, I also rewatched Divergent, which is another dystopian movie, because I also reread the book in January, so I watched the movie afterwards. And the movie is a lot of fun. I will say the first one is pretty much the only good one, but I once again love these characters, and Four in this movie, love him so much. Next, I watched another new food show on Netflix, and that is Cook at All Costs. Now, in this show, we have 3 different contestants, and they all have about $25,000 in the bank. And they get to use this money to spend on different food and ingredients that a professional chef in the back is making for them. So there are also 3 different food boxes that they get to choose from by spending money. And that is a save box, a spin box, and a surprise box. And they all have to try to make this delicious dish out of it that the chef in the back will taste and judge on. I love this concept so much. There was also this really cool conveyor belt that different ingredients would come throughout the episode that they could spend money on. So you could also spend a ton of money and get these really great ingredients, or you could try to make a dish with what you have, and the money you have left over in your bank, you get that money. So there are pros and cons to spending your money and saving your money. I really love the show, and I watched it very quickly. It is very intriguing to watch, and overall I really loved it. Next, I watched one of my favorite movies of all time because I wanted to show it to my mom and dad, and that is Uncharted. And this is the movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. And it is like an adventure, treasure, pirate hunting type of movie, and I just love this movie so much. I've watched it a handful of times now, and every time it is so much fun. I love the action scenes, and not to mention Tom and Mark together. I need more movies with them two in it because it is so good, and I really hope they make a sequel to this movie. Now, in the last month, February, I have 3 things to talk about, and the first is You Season 2. So You is a really great book. I love it so much, and so I first watched You Season 1 when it first came out, and then I like randomly stopped halfway through Season 2 when it came out, so I decided I am gonna sit down and finish it because Season 4 just came out, so I was like, I need to catch up. So I finished Season 2, and I had such a great time. I honestly think Season 2 is even better than Season 1, although it takes place in LA, and I prefer New York. But I loved the characters and the actress who plays Love. We see her on a lot of Netflix things, but she is fantastic and really great. And I will say, Joe Goldberg, there's just something about him. Like, I know he's a serial killer, but I love that man. And I know the problem is me, but I just can't help it. Next, I watched Bake Squad Season 2, another baking show on Netflix. I loved the first season, and so when Season 2 came out, I had to watch it right away. So in this one, we have 4 different chefs. One of them is like a cake expert, one of them is like a pastry sugar expert, one of them's a chocolate expert, and one of them is like a flavor expert. So they all have different briefs because each episode a new person comes in and they might have an anniversary or a birthday or a celebration that they want a massive dessert for. And so each of the 4 people gets to make their own, and then at the end, one dessert gets chosen. And I love this so much. It is so amazing what you can do with sugar and just delicious food. It is amazing the creativity that these people have, and I just really would love to go to like pastry school or culinary school, and it's shows like these that really inspire me to do that. And the last thing I finished was Ghost Files Season 1. So Ghost Files is Ryan and Shane. They used to be on BuzzFeed Unsolved. It is their newest show on their own channel, Watcher. And I finally sat down and I watched the entire season. There's only a few episodes, but I finally watched it after like months of it being out. I finally watched it. And it is so good, of course. I loved BuzzFeed Unsolved, so I love this so much. I will say I missed the little like typing text on the screen, like the little wheeze was everything to me, and I miss it so much. So hopefully they bring that back for Season 2. But I love Ryan and Shane shenanigans so much. They are so funny, so I had a great time watching this. So that is everything that I watched in winter. Let me know what is something that you watched recently that you think I should watch as well. But that is it for this video. If you have made it this far, go ahead and leave like the old school TV emoji. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, all my social media links will be down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!